Celeste, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Going good, dude. I can't believe it's been a whole week already. Wow, that felt super short.
Has it really been a week? I feel like it's been a few days.
Yeah, wow, time really flies. Shoo.
No, what happened was
You see, the thing is, oh man,
something messed up.
yeah, kind of my fault, kind of out of my control. Uh, I had this program set up for when I streamed, uh, by Twitch. It's called Twitch Soundtrack, and it's basically supposed to be a soundtrack app that lets you play music that's not copyrighted, and it's supposed to let the music play during your stream, but then in any subsequent recordings or rewatchings of the stream, the music is muted, just in case they decide in the future, hey, we want to get rights for this song. It'll automatically mute it. But apparently, there's a thing with it where it just mutes random audio. So I realized in the recording of our episode 2 podcast talking about Cautious Hero, uh, you could literally only hear my mic. Like, no desktop audio. There was a point in time where I was like, oh, the name of the intro song is this, and it was what I was playing in the beginning. You couldn't hear it. There was nothing. So, like, if somebody watched live, they got all of it, but in the recording and in the VOD, there was nothing. So,
Nada.
yeah, so we were, even earlier, like, earlier that day, I had played Cyberpunk 2077, and I had a close friend watching, and they said the audio was fine, but then in the VOD, there was nothing. So that was fun to find out that, like, hours and hours of me doing stuff just down the drain. So I was like,
What's up?
oh, this sucks. Like, we lost the whole podcast. I uploaded it to YouTube, like, unlisted. It's in the playlist, like, if somebody wanted to watch it. But it's literally just me talking with no audio. Like, you can hear every pop of my mouth. You can hear me, like, sniffle and like swallow my saliva. It was disgusting. It's really bad ASMR. Hey, if you're into that, it's up there. But
If who knows, somebody might be.
yeah, this is my big break. This is how I'm gonna get all my subscribers. It's just here's Lasers mouth noise. But we did it. I uninstalled Twitch Soundtrack. We did a like literally 1 minute test stream, and I was able to hear your voice and the tit for tat playing, which is playing right now. I looped it. That way, it's just the background music for the podcast.
Hey, it's a good song,
Yeah, it
so
is. So I don't even mind. But if you don't like it, uh, watch anyway. I don't care.
sucks to be you.
Sucks to suck, dude. Oh man. But yeah, so I was like, okay, what can we do so like there's still something that people can watch except for that horrendous mouth noise for an hour. So basically, we're just gonna do a shortened version of the podcast. We're just gonna rehash what we said. That way, there's
Mhm.
something. It might go on for the same hour. Who knows? But most likely not.
Ah,
Yeah, so you want to just jump right into that?
okay. So
So
going right in,
yeah,
I'm explaining it right.
yep. Episode 1, right? What is it that we watched?
We watched A Cautious Hero. And so basically, the whole plot line of this anime slash it's a manga too. I remember he said there was a manga.
Yeah.
I need to read the manga. Anyways, so the whole plot line of this series is that there's a goddess and living in this divine world, and what happens is there's multiple gods and goddesses, and every now and then a god or a goddess is assigned a world to go ward off evil. And in this one, we are given the goddess Wisteria, but they call her Rista. And so she is assigned the world. Oh my God, Gia Bronde. Still don't know how to pronounce it.
Dio Brando.
And there's no O, it's an E. Brandy, maybe.
Yeah, but I just keep calling it Dio Brando for JoJo. So
So Gio Brondo. There's no O. Damn it, Lizer. So, anyways, and so she summons a hero from Japan, and he has like these crazy stats, like super good for a level 1, but she fails to realize his flaw, and that's him being overcautious. So during their adventure, he's very cautious. Like she wants to go fight, but he's always like, "No, we need to take it down a notch."
Yeah.
So that's basically the whole plot line of the anime.
Yeah, that's like the recurring trope of it.
Yep. And so with episode 1, she summons the hero, which his name is Seiya Ryugen. And I know I butchered his last name really bad. Sorry guys. I do apologize for that. But Seiya, by the way, I'm a Seiya simp, just so you know.
Yeah, and also this is Rista. Let me put that up, just in case people don't know. This is also Rista. This is the better picture of Rista, honestly. And this is Seiya. This is who Celeste simps for.
I simp for him so hard.
Continue.
And so anyways,
Uh-huh.
accidentally like left the chat.
Oh, nice.
And so anyways, so she summons Seiya, and really good stats, and so right away she wants to go to the world they have to fight, which is Geobron. Can I just say like Gia? Can I just call it like Gia?
Ariana Grande.
Yeah, let's call it Ariana Grande. So they have to go to Ariana Grande's world, but Seiya's like, no, I need to, get fit. Like I ain't gonna go out and battle like crazy woman.
Gotta be a
And
buff
so
boy.
he train, huh?
Gotta be a buff boy.
Oh yeah, he gotta get the mabs.
Gotta get swole.
He gotta get the mabs. Like insert like SpongeBob lick me on those abs. Anyways, so he trains, and so then Rista has to wait, and then finally after he trains, like I think it's a week. Like he stays in the divine world for a week. And then finally Rista gets him and they go to Ariana Grande's world. And, can I even say her name?
Whatever.
They go to her world. And so that they meet a little girl. Like they enter a town, and it's like the safest town in the whole world. And they meet a little girl named Nina, and Nina's telling them, "Oh yeah, this town's totally safe. Like I can go to the next town because the only monsters that's around is a slime, and they're like level 1." And so they go to a shop after meeting Nina. They're like, "Hey, is there a shop? We need to get some supplies." And so she's like, "Yeah, go down this road. There's an armor shop." So they go to an armor shop, and Seiya orders 3 sets of armor. He needs to have an armor. He needs to have a backup for his armor. He needs to have a backup for that armor. And so then they go and they fight a level 1 slime, but like Seiya's just like plummeting the slime, like level 1 slime, and I think Seiya's like level 20, like in its teens, like 12 maybe,
Something like that.
and
Yeah.
he's like pulverizing the slime, and
He keeps
just
shooting
like,
fireballs at it.
but yeah, and then like obliterates it, and then it tracks one of the like seven, oh my god, what are they calling them, the
Seven
kings?
heavenly kings.
The 7 heavenly kings, like one of the generals, and she's like at level, like I think she's like close to level 30, and Seiya gets intimidated, and then Rista's like, I think we should run away, and Seiya's like gone.
Yeah, he's already
like, he
gone.
booked it. Yeah, and so he like literally left her behind. And so then she finally catches up with Seiya, and then Seiya has her open a portal back to her world.
Yeah.
And so then they go back
And
to
that's
her world. So
yeah, and that's where episode 2 starts.
mhm.
Yeah, and it just picks up right there. Like episode 1 was like ending with them running away and then telling her to open the portal. Episode 2 starts right there, and it's just him saying like, I need to train more, So she has to sit. Rista has to sit through like all that shit again of him just doing sit-ups like nonstop, and she's just getting fed up, and she
Gotta work
decides
on the
to
abs.
work on them abs. Insert meme of again. So like he does all that again, and she decides that she's going to like spy on the town, like the world that they were just in, the Ariana Grande world,
Hmm.
and they see that the demon queen or whatever, Chaos Machina, who is supremely hot, is like killing people in the village that they were at, Nina's village. And she's like, okay, every 10 minutes, I'm going to kill another villager until you guys come and face me. And up next on the chopping block is Nina and her dad. So that was basically like how they got back. Seiya seemingly didn't care, but he felt he was prepared enough to go and face her. So they go back and they start fighting. And she fights him in this base form, which is the usual hot demon form. And she's like, okay, you've gotten stronger. Time for me to level up. And she enters this like buff form, and this is what I call the step on me form. And I like that you laugh at that the second time you've heard it.
It's so funny.
So she this is the step on me form, and she's just like super buff and like hotter, and I want her to peg me, and they're just like going at it over and over, and it's like pretty even. So she's like, time for me to go even further beyond, and she pulls a Devil May Cry and like impales her sword on her into her chest, and out of it pops her furry suit, and she becomes this giant like
Her
goat
persona.
demon persona thing that looks like my nightmares. And she proceeds to fight Seiya like that. And she throws a punch, and he just like stops it with like one hand. And
Hmm.
Reese like, what the
That's my
fuck?
boy.
And it's like,
That's my boy.
how? So she's able to like check his level, and she sees that like his stats haven't increased very much. So she's like, how the hell is this possible? So she like focuses her energy more, and these like signs start popping up in her vision, and it's basically him using an ability to make it so that people can't see his true level. So when she focuses enough, she can see through it all, and it turns out that he's actually been way stronger than Chaos Machina for quite some time, and he could have taken her on at any time and won. So now Reese is pissed about that because he just basically lied, and he was again overly prepared for this battle.
It's okay. I
So
still love you, Saya.
so he just like one hit KOs Chaos Machina and like turns her to dust, and he saves the village. Rista starts to perv on him again because anytime he does something cool, she forgets that he's an asshole, and it's just like, oh, you're so cute, I love you, oh. So she starts doing that, and the townspeople come like, oh, thank you for saving our village. We should throw you a party. And say it's like, before that, we need to make sure that she can't come back. She's a heavenly king, so maybe one of her powers is regeneration. And then he does what he did to the slime of just like spamming fireball
Polarizes.
again and again and again and again, to the point that the village caught fire, and like the was the fruit merchant, right?
Oh, Jamie! It's
Jamie.
funny because I still remember Jamie. Jamie the fruit
Jamie the
merchant.
fruit merchant caught fire, and Rista had to like save him. And so like they put out the fire, like they do like a quick jump cut. So when they put out the fire, most of the village is burned down at this point, and they're like, "Thank you so much for saving me, but please leave. Like we can't have you here." So Seiya's like,
Get
"Oh,
out.
these ungrateful bastards. We saved them, and this is the thanks we get." So they start leaving town, and Nina and her dad are following, and Nina's dad gives them like a bag full of silver or whatever the currency is. And Seiya's like, "Oh, that's it. I saved your village. This is all you can give me." So he takes out like 2 coins from his pocket. He's like, "This is all I have." And Seiya just takes it. He doesn't care. And Reese is like, "You're just robbing them at this point. Like, what the fuck, dude?" and, and like they decide to go back to the god world so he can train some more before they
Hmm.
head to the next village. This is the god world, by the way. This is like the overview of it. There's different sections that each god basically inhabits. It's like their territory basically.
Hmm.
And that was basically episode
And
two.
then And then so episode 3 is so they go back and Sam wants to train more. And so Rista of course like lets him do his thing because literally you can't be around Seo when he's training.
Absolutely not.
And so yeah, and so then she ends up going to Arya, which is another goddess. I'm trying to remember what her goddess power is. I forgot.
Boobs.
Anyways, so she goes with Arya, another goddess, and Seiya randomly comes in. He's like, I can't level up anymore. Like I do push-ups, I do sit-ups. Like I'm not leveling up no more. I reached the limit. And so Rista's like, okay, cool. That means we can go to the world and actually like have an adventure where you can train and stuff. And Seiya's like, no, like that's too dangerous. And then Arya, the goddess, comes up with the plan. Is like, why don't you train with this god? If you it's safer too. Like she agrees with Seiya that it's a much safer approach. And so they go and they meet up with the god Circes. Yeah, Circes. And he is the god of the divine blade. And so it's funny because when Seiya first meet him, he has like a really cocky personality. He's like, oh, like by the time I'm done with through with you, you're gonna be begging on your knees and crying. And of course, Seiya's not bothered by this, especially with the personality he has. So he and Cersei goes and trains. Then like the day passes, and then the next day Rista runs into him, and she's like, "How's training going?" And he's acting all fine, like, "Yeah, no, it's like everything's going good. Like he picks up fast and blah blah blah." And she's like, "Okay, that's good." And then so she leaves, and then the next day comes. He's kind of like a little bit like out of it, and then Rista's like, "Hey, how's the training going?" And then he's just like, "Oh, everything's fine." And then she's noticing it, but she's like, "Okay, whatever, like keep on with the training." And then the next day she runs into him and he's like cowering. And then she's like, "How's the training going?" And Cersei's just like he's crazy, he's sick in the head. And so then she's like, "Okay, that's whatever." And then she goes and like the next day that's when she's like, I need to bring lunch for Seiya. So she goes to the cafeteria, and it's cool because with the cafeteria, like she what is she looking for again? Nori?
Nori.
Nori?
Yeah.
Nori? She's looking for Nori to make a onigiri for Seiya because since he's from Japan, that's his comfort food.
That's racist.
so and so she goes, and what's cool because like when you go through the cafeteria there's like a door and then you go through it, it's like the beach.
Yeah, it's a
And
huge
so then
ass
they have
beach.
like it's a beach, so like an actual like freaking beach. So she goes out there looking for the Nori, and then she finds Cersei's like hidden in the Nori, and she's like, "What are you doing there?" And then he's telling her how scared and how he can't handle Seiya no more,
Yeah, he
to
doesn't
the
even
point
like
where he throws
swords
his
anymore.
yeah, like he hates them and he throws his sword into the beach, and then like Seiya just pops out of nowhere,
Ah, this is
and
where
then
you've been.
yeah, and then he like drags him like
Like
back to training, and
kicking and
Cersei's like
screaming, like actually
kicking and
dragging him.
yeah, like he's kicking and screaming, and he's begging Rista to save him, and then Rista was gonna try to like intervene, but she ends up getting a call from Ishtar, one of like she's a top goddess, and so Rista can't help Cersei, so she ends up going to Ishtar, and when she's there, she is told that she's gonna have allies to go back to the area Grande Ariana Grande world because they found them. She has new allies, and so she's like go get Seiya, go to the world, get your new allies, and she's like, okay, cool. And then so she goes back and looks for Seiya and Cersei's, and when she finds them, she sees Seiya literally just like punching Cersei's, and Cersei's just like begging and screaming, and then Vrista's like, "Stop! You're being a bully." And then Seiya's like, "No, this is just training." And then like Cersei's just like quiet, and then Vrista's like, "By the silence, I'm guessing you're lying."
Yeah, which was different in my version because I watched the English dub. So she's like, what are you doing? You're like killing him. And Seiya's like, oh, this is just training. And she's like, if it's training, why is he on his back, like weeping? And
And we'll remind
he's
with
really there, like, please stop, take him away.
yeah. And so then that's when she's like, "Hey, we got to go back to the world. We got new allies." And so Seiya like think Cersei's like super happy that he's leaving. So then they go back to the world and they go into a city. And when they get to the city, everybody's evacuating. And so they go in and so they're like, "Why is everybody evacuating?" And they're like, "Oh, one of the strongholds was got destroyed
You know, the usual.
by yeah, so the undead, are coming in, and so we all have to leave.
Yeah, and
And so,
literally the way you explained it is how he explained it.
yeah,
It's just like the most nonchalant, like, yeah, there's a bunch of zombies coming our way. They're gonna destroy the city. Bye.
but yeah, like they're like with smiles on their faces.
As they take like their
Anyway,
entire lives out.
yeah, and so then they go in, and so at first they meet with a merchant that's in there, and they buy holy water. And so then they go to the church where they're supposed to meet their allies, and that's where we meet two new characters, which is Ilulu and Mash. And so right next to them is a priest and a nun, and they kind of like start introducing each other. But Seiya like walks up to the priest, pours holy water on him, and then everybody's like, "Why are you pouring holy water on him?"
You only use that for
And
undead.
yeah, and so then the priest like burst out. Turns out he's undead. He's like, "How did you know?" Like you must be really smart.
Yeah.
And then, but like fun fact, Seiya didn't know. He's just overly cautious. He was just pouring holy water on him just to make sure. And then it goes to the next episode.
Yeah, so they like have a fight and Seiya basically destroys the church and because he does the spam of the fireball again and like just obliterates the fake priest, destroys the
What's his power
church.
move?
The the God, what is she called? Nun. The
None.
nun sees all the rubble and just like faints. So like these guards rush in and they're like, "Oh, what happened? Like we're knights of the kingdom and we see that the church is like fucking gone. What happened?" And they start to like the leader of them, the head knight, is suspicious of Seiya. He's kind of like being mean to him, and Seiya doesn't care because Seiya is just as much of a dick. Um, and then the nun like wakes up and tells them about the horde of zombies coming their way and like everything that happened with the priest being a fake and everything. So suddenly the knight's like, "Oh, you must be the hero to Seiya," and it's like, "Oh, we have this many people coming and we can offer the help," and Seiya's just like, "Nah, I don't need it," and just like flies off on his own, which was again weird to me because he's supposed to be so cautious, but then they also want to make him cocky and make him do things like this on his own at the same time, and it's like two clashing ideals in one character, and that just seemed a little off to me. But it's something he does a couple of times, so I've gotten used to it. But Rista tries to follow, and he basically tells her, "I don't need your help either. Like I'm better off alone." And she gets
Mm-hmm.
pissed, and she can't fly, so she decides she's going to give herself wings. And I don't know if it's the same in the Japanese dub, but in the English dub, she's like she says this chant for the gods to give her power, and she's like, "Give me the power that I should already have, the power of flight." And she like grows wings and tries to follow after him. And every time she gets close, he just like speeds up a little bit, and so he's just constantly out of her reach. So eventually, her wings start to hurt because she's flying too fast. So she just like gives up her chase, and that's when he comes back, and he grabs her by the hand. He's like, "Come on, you just follow me." And she has this moment where she thinks, "Oh, he's so dreamy. Like he's the perfect prince. He's such a gentleman." And then he just fucking speeds off like Mach 30 while holding her hand and drags her through the abyss of the world. And she's just this is exactly that scene right here. Like tears, her eyes look like she's gonna fucking fly out of her head. Uh the feathers rip out of her wings and she has like bald spots all over them. Her boobs bounce out of her shirt. It's just she's just screaming the whole time. He doesn't care. He just wants to get to where he's going. So they reach the zombie horde, and big surprise, he just fucking obliterates them. But instead of using his normal fire attack, he now uses like this giant meteor strike, which is I guess like an upgraded fire attack. And Rist is amazed because that's like super high level and takes a lot of MP for someone who like has no experience with it, and he's just spamming it like he usually does. So he tries to do it like one more time, and then like he kind of goes kind of limp. Like he's still flying, but like his body just kind of gives out, and Rist is panicking, and it's like, oh, he must have used up so much magic that he's feeling faint, and he's like, oh yeah, I had 1,500 MP points, and now I only have 1,300. She's like, he only used 200 MP. So he's used like no magic at all, and he's like fainting. Uh, so she like it does like a skip to when she brings him to like I guess a hotel is the best way to say it, like a an inn, right?
Yeah, they go back to an inn. Yeah, an inn.
And they find out that Mash has like gone off on his own, and no one knows where he is. But Seiya doesn't care because he doesn't want him around anyway, and he's building a sword like using synthesis magic. And Rista's like, "Oh, what ingredients did you use?" And he's like, "Oh, I used this and that and some of your hair." And she's like, "Oh, okay. Excuse me, my what?" He's like, "Yeah, I used some of your hair. You know, goddess hair has these great abilities for magic items." And that's fucking creepy. So then someone knocks on the
Still a
door.
little.
Someone knocks on the door, and they have like this package for them. And Zaya hides behind like the couch, and he's like, "You take it. I'm not taking any chances." So Rista opens it up, and it's a mirror, and she just starts like checking herself out, and then like a splatter of blood hits it, and she screams. And on the mirror you can see Mosh, and he's like tied to a chair and like all messed up. He's like beaten up, and
Has his nails ripped out
yeah,
too.
just like absolutely tortured. And it's revealed that he's been captured by another one of the Heavenly Kings. What was his name?
I forgot his name. I really did.
It's like
The
De-
Heavenly King, right?
Death Machine or something like that.
I don't remember.
I don't know. But he's like a skull head.
Looks
Here he
creepy.
goes. Yeah, he has like three eyes and a skull head, and he's like, okay, I'm going to kill this child, basically. So they go back to Rista's home because time works differently there, and like every 16 hours for them there is 10 hours in the Ariana Grande world. I mean,
10
10
minutes.
minutes in the Ariana Grande world. So just before they leave, Seiya just like slices with his new sword, and it cuts off the demon's hand. And they're like, "Well, how the hell did you do that?" And apparently, his sword can just like slice through dimensions because of the goddess hair. So OP magic trick for the isekai protagonist. Uh, so they go to Rista's world, and he basically has Rista speak to Ishtar, the godly grandma, just to basically
Grandma.
say, hey, we need you to find Mosh for us. That way we can go defeat this guy. And at first she's like, oh no, we're not supposed to help the humans that much. We're just supposed to help guide them a little bit. But then eventually he convinces her, like pretty easily, honestly, to
Yeah.
give them the coordinates and to make a portal. So she makes them the portal, and it like leads directly to the room that Mosh is in, and they just come out like guns a blazing. He shoots a fireball at the demon dude, and they just start fighting while Rista heals Mosh, and the demon guy summons this like ghost monster that's also like powered by fire, and explains that it has like this crazy high defense, and its only weakness is ice magic and like this one specific melee move, and neither of those things are something that Seiya should have because one, he's a sword user, so he shouldn't have melee attacks, and he's a fire user, so he shouldn't have ice magic. But as it turns out, he has both of those things. He has the exact melee attack that like is able to stop the monster, and he's able to freeze it because, again, using Rista's hair, he made bangles of every single element plus spares. So he can use any element imaginable. He can do any magic. So he defeats the monster, and the demon is just like, well, don't kill me, and he just kills him like off screen,
Yeah.
and it just cuts the credits like right there, like he just kills him.
And then so they take Mash back to the inn where Ilulu was at, and they wait till he heals, and then that's when Seiya's like, you know what, you can come along too because I need somebody to carry my bags. And so then he's like, but you guys gotta train, like you guys gotta get stronger. And then I was gonna say something. You said about his whole like he like the one moment he's cautious and the other one where he like goes on
Yeah,
his own
he
and
just gets
like he
super confident. I mean,
yeah
he's always super confident, but then it's
he,
like in certain moments he's like, I'm too cautious to do this, even though I know I can.
no, but it's funny because like when you said that and you're like like they should stick to one, there's a reason behind that, and that's I'm like I want to say it but I
Let
can't.
me guess, I have to keep watching.
You have to keep watching
Oh, I'm so
to
surprised.
to understand that. Anyways, back to my episode. I wanted to say that before I continue because I probably would have forgotten. But anyways, so Mash heals and then Seiya agrees for them to come along. That way he can have somebody air quotes carry his bags. Um, but they have to get stronger. And so they go back to the divine world so they can get trained. So Mash gets assigned with Cersei's. And at first Cersei's thought it was Seiya that wanted to train with him again, and Cersei was like scared. And he's like, "Oh, I have a new passion. Like I'm in the kitchen now,
I make
and he
cakes now.
bakes and stuff." And they're like, "Oh no, it's not for Seiya. It's for this guy, Mash." And so he sees Mash, and then he sees the level he is, that he's lower. He's a lower level, and then he gets his cocky attitude again. He's like, "Oh yeah, no, I'll definitely make him stronger." And so Mash goes off and he trains with him, and then Ilulu goes with, oh my gosh, what is her name? I forgot her name,
It's
but
funny
she's
because
the
you
goddess
forgot
of
it during the original recording of this too.
the goddess. I know she's a goddess of a fire. She's the goddess of fire. Oh, Hestica. She's the goddess of fire, Hestica.
uh-huh.
Anyways, so she goes trains with her, and then Seiya's like, well, I need to go train with somebody, and so they're on their way to go look for someone to train with, and they end up running into Valkyrie, and she is the goddess of destruction,
I don't remember her.
and she's the one you like.
What? No. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
she's the one you
Why?
like.
Why would I like someone like this in like a chain bikini with ripped abs that can just fucking destroy me? No way.
Step on him.
Fucking destroy me.
And it's destroy, and she's the goddess of destruction.
Yeah, she could destroy my asshole. Fucking spit on me, mommy.
I'm gonna cough. No, so anyways, so Seiya gives her a bad impression, and she wants to fight him like right then and there. And then Arya comes and she intervenes and she gets her to calm down.
Yeah, and I pointed
And
this
then
out last time too, but every time that something happens, Arya's there to like intervene and calm people down around Seiya because she saw his abs like one time and she fell in love with him, so she's like stalking him now.
yeah,
Like, don't think I didn't catch that anime. I know she's stalking him.
continue watching the anime and you'll find out why she's really stalking him.
Fucking make me.
Or I can just spoil it for you, like after.
No.
Dude, I'm telling you, gotta continue like the plot twist.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, so she intervenes and she gets her to calm down. She breaks up the fight, and then she's like, "If you're looking for someone to train you, I know someone, who'd be willing." And so she takes them to the goddess of war, which is Adelina. And by the way,
Adele.
when they first meet her, she's like dirty, like she's in a dark room,
She's
dirty,
sleeping
not
on the
wearing any
floor.
shoes. Yeah, like no shoes, like just dirt all over her.
Yeah, like this picture I have up is not the first time we see her. When we first see her, she's like all grungy. She's covered in filth. I think she has like a potato sack as a shirt.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
does.
and they're like, "This is a goddess. You're sure?"
And so then so she agrees to train Seiya. So the first session is good, and then the second session she gets cleaned up. And then Rissa's like, "How things going?" And she's like, "Oh, things are going good." You know, and then the next day, Vrista's talking to her again, and she's like, "Oh, when will Seiya learn?" And she's like, "What are you talking about? Like he already mastered it." And then she's like, "Well, why is he still training with you?" But then Seiya comes and he's like, "Let's go back to training." So then they go back to training, and then while they're training, we're finding out that she has a crush on Sand, and so each day she gets cleaner and cleaner, and she like fixes herself up.
Yeah, more presentable, more girly.
Yep.
She I don't know if it was the same in the Japanese dub, but when she was explaining that he already mastered the eternal sword technique, she's like, "Oh, well then why are you still training him?" And in the English dub, you ever saw Danganronpa?
Some of it.
Do you know
No.
the girl with the glasses that has a crush on the rich guy?
Yes.
The way that she talks, that she has like the weird laugh and everything.
Uh-huh.
She does that. She's like, he's the only one who can keep up with me.
Oh my
And I was like, what the
god.
fuck?
She does the weird laugh too a lot
Oh,
in
I
the
hate it. I
Japanese
hate
one.
it so much. Like the yandere laugh.
And so then it's finally time to go back to the world that they're fighting for. And so they go and collect the people. And so they go collect Mash. Mash leveled up, and then they go to Ilulu, and they find out that she really hadn't like progressed. And so the Hectica pulls Rissa to the side, and she's like, "Yeah, she doesn't really have that much power."
Yo, this girl straight
And
up
I just
sucks, bro.
yeah, that night she told her to give up. That better now than later on, and where it could like affect her more emotionally. You
Yeah,
know.
because she said you had to be born with the ability and the talent for it, which
Uh-huh.
she does not have.
Yes. And so yeah, they all gather up again. They're about to leave, and then that's when Adin Adina comes. She finds them, and she brings Saya a cake that says "I love you," and Saya hates cake, so Saya grabs the cake, he throws it on the floor, and then this like really upsets her, and so she's like about to like freaking I don't know murder him or something
She just
because
loses her shit.
yeah, she loses her shit. And so then, like, Saya's like, okay, open the portal, let's go. So they go in the portal and they leave. And as they're leaving the portal, you just see, like, the background. She's, like, just destroying everything.
And in the English dub, she's like, I guess I'm not good enough for him, huh? I guess I'm just not good enough. And she's like slicing at the air and destroying things.
And so then, they go back to the world. And as they're walking, Mash wants to, like, show off his new power. And he's like, if anybody attacks us, like, leave them to me and I got it. And so they're walking, and like you just see like monsters coming their way, and then like Match is about to go attack, but like Saya summons this fire phoenix and like destroys the monster before they even get even like closer to them.
Yeah, because it's
And
automatic
there's
within a range, right?
yeah, and then it's funny because like there's a scene too where Lulu like shoots an arrow, and then the phoenix comes and like kicks the arrow and like destroys the monster.
Probably like the only attack she knows because she sucks at magic
Yeah,
apparently.
and so they go to a town, a village, and it's a dwarf village. And then like Saya's like, why aren't we attacking them? And then Marissa's like, yeah, they're considered monsters or whatever, but they're peaceful. And so, which is mean. Come on, don't be mean to the dwarves. It's like And um, so they go stock up, and they leave. And Mash and Ululu are dragonkin, so they have like dragon blood in them. And so they have to go to the dragon den where Seiya's supposed to receive the most powerful weapon that will kill the fire demon, or whatever, the monster demon, or
Whatever it is, yeah.
whatever it is. I forgot what they called him. So anyways, but they have like these I guess tattoos or symbols or something like in their
Yeah,
body.
they have markings on their hand. I think it's supposed to be like
There
a
we go.
birthmark.
Yeah, and so then like, once they're close, like they light up. And there's like this door with two hands on it, and so they're supposed to put their hand that has the marking on it on the door. But Sales like moved to the side and he like destroys the door. And they're like, "Well, what was the whole point of bringing us? Like that was our purpose, was for us to lead you and get you inside."
Now we really are useless. No, you're stronger now, so you can hold more of my stuff.
Yeah. And so then they find a what is it called? Those circles,
Transportation magic circle.
transportation magic circle. And like one of the dragonkins like talking from like beyond, like in their world, and they're like, "Yeah, step inside and we will transfer you here." And Seiya's suspicious. He finds a lizard and he puts it in the middle, and then he's like, "Okay, we're on." And so then the guy like transports the lizard to him, and then like he transports it back, and he's like, I think there was a mistake. You sent me a lizard, like a lizard came to me." And then Seiya like picks up the lizard and he inspects it, and he's like, "Okay, I see no like nothing wrong with it." And so then he goes and everybody steps in the circle and they get transported to the dragon world. And so over there, they're more lizard-like people. Where Mash and Ilulu look more like humans, the others look more like dragon people. And so Sales asks them like, "How come they look human and you guys look, more dragon-like?" And he was just like, "Oh, that's just how, it's just the blood."
Yeah, they
And
have more
Sales like,
dragon
"Oh,
blood.
yeah." And so then Sales like, "Oh, so then they're useless." And so and he's like, "No, no." He's like, "No, that they like, they're strong in their own ways." And so then they go meet like the Empress, but she's like the dragon mother.
Yeah, they're like the lizard queen.
Yeah. And so she's like, "Mash, Ilulu, your duties is to help, Seiya save the world." Like Mash step forward, and so Mash steps forward and she like unlocks his I guess it's Dragonborn or some shit like that.
Fusrota!
And so then like he's able to transform into like a
Not a
like
full-on dragon,
scalier.
but like a half
Yeah.
dragon, half human
Yeah, cuz
hybrid.
yeah, because he still looks like himself, but he just like gains scales.
And I think he gets like a snout, right?
Yeah, he kind of gets a snout. And so then she gives her that power.
So many personas.
I know. Well, is it considered a fursona? Because it's not furry. It's
Oh,
they're
sorry, he's a
scales.
scaly.
He's a scaly man. So then Ilulu's like, "Oh, do that to me. Like I want to be helpful. I want to be useful." And then she's like, basically you're too weak. You don't have the potential for
Yeah.
that." And so then Ilulu gets sad and she's like, "Oh no, don't worry. You have you have something even more greater than Mash." And then she's like, "Oh, what is it?" And they're like, "Oh, you need to sacrifice yourself in order for Seiya to gain the sword."
Yeah,
And
that's
then
your
like
destiny. Your destiny is to give up your life.
for so he can get the sword.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, it just like ends on her face of like, huh?
Huh?
Like so she just got like massive dubs the whole episode. Like, no, you have no talent for the magic that you're passionate about. No, you cannot transform. Also, your destiny is to die. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And that was it. That was the 5 episodes.
Good episodes.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. As I said in the original, I liked it. I liked the show a lot. I just don't. I'm not a fan of Seiya. He's too cocky for me. He's an asshole, and I don't like him. You said that there's a reason for that. That they'll talk about it more later. So I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. I gave the show what, a solid 3 out of 5.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I gave it a 5
yeah, because you're a
because I
Seiya simp.
yeah.
But it was enjoyable. As I said before, I like the interactions between Seiya and Rista, and I have the pictures here. It's like this is what Rista thinks their relationship is, and it's like the "Ugu, I love you" type of thing, where he's ripped and his shirt is off, and he's like about to give her a kiss, and what their relationship actually is just him being a dick, and she's like, "What the fuck." But like she keeps
No, I'm
forgetting that
telling you.
he's an asshole, and she like keeps falling for him over and over again.
I'm telling you, you gotta keep watching it and you understand why. It's one of
Yes.
those it's one of those anime where it's like
Well,
you gotta
Celeste,
watch.
it's a 5 episode limit, so
I know. I know, but it's like, oh, it gets so good. Like, it's already good, but you understand more of his character and you understand why he is the way he is. And then you understand more, like, with the backstory. Like, there's this plot twist. Like, there's this
I know
plot
you keep
twist.
talking about this damn plot twist.
Dude, because that's a big plot twist. Like, I wasn't expecting it. Like, I
Yeah, that's why it's
wasn't.
called the plot twist.
Huh?
That's why it's called the plot
I
twist.
know. No, but there's some anime where you kind of see it
Oh, most
coming,
definitely, most definitely.
This is the one where I didn't see it coming, and I was like, oh, that explains why.
Yeah. So when we originally did the episode 2 of this podcast, where we originally talked about Cautious Hero, I was indecisive on what I wanted to do as far as continuing it, because part of me didn't, because I don't like him at all. But I also wanted to see the return of certain characters, like the Grandma Ishtar, and obviously Valkyrie, so she can just peg me with no lube. Um, so I realized that I had already like read a couple of chapters, and I had no issues with Seiya in the manga, but for some reason in the anime I don't like him, and I don't know why, because it's the same thing. It's just an adaptation of it. So I think I'm just gonna read the manga from here on out and just finish it there. And maybe one day I'll come back. I'll probably watch the Japanese dub because maybe I'll get a different feeling for it. It might have just been the
Hmm.
English voice that I didn't like. It came off too cocky.
Hmm.
But I don't know. We'll see. I'm definitely gonna read it.
Because like with the Japanese version, I definitely don't get like no, I get confidence. I don't get cocky.
Nah, and the English one, he's just a straight up dickhead. Like, oh, I can't stand it. He's like edge lord, like Sasuke Naruto level.
I don't like. I gotta watch a English dub, so I can see what you're hearing.
Yeah, you do that. I won't.
I'll do it. I
Like,
like this anime.
yeah, the anime itself is good. I just don't like the main character. That's my one issue. Plus, as I said before, this is coming after I've seen like a million isekai anime that have done the same thing as this. So it's kind of
Hmm.
like worn on me.
Hmm.
But I am willing to give it a chance in some shape or form, and most likely that will be the manga. Um,
Because I swear, if you don't end up watching it, I'll just explain it to you later. Because I'm
like we're
like,
gonna do the next podcast, and you're gonna be like, "So, Lizer, have you continued?" I'm gonna be like, "No." You're like, "Well, the plot twist is."
well, the plot twist is this. It's like, oh my, and you would actually be surprised about why I actually was able, like, don't want to give away too much because if I say too much, then it's gonna give it away.
Yeah.
I can't. But I mean, too, like you would think I would get. Uh, I'm trying to think of the date where it came out in October of last year. Yeah, no, definitely watch it. The plot twist, I'm telling you.
I will. I will.
It killed.
Uh,
It literally killed me, and I cried.
I don't think it literally killed you. I think it might have
Like
figuratively killed you.
it literally figuratively killed me. Literally figuratively killed me, and it made me cry. It made like I cried. I cried so hard.
Okay. All right. So
But then again, I'm a big baby, so
oh, this is true. But I'll throw my 2 cents out there and say that it's probably like in his world because he made a mistake. He like lost a sister or sibling or family member or something like that.
You'll see
Uh,
once you watch it,
I remember
or once you
I
have
said something in the last version of this podcast, and you went, "Yeah, no, I can't say."
I can't say.
I'm gonna look at the recording and see what it is that I said. Well, you started off with like a hard yeah, and then you're just like, "Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
can't say."
no. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I'm willing to spoil if you won't watch it.
No, no, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm gonna read it.
No, if you don't actually read it,
Yeah,
then I'm
I
gonna
will.
spoil
I
it.
will. I've actually already started, so that's good.
Nice.
But
Good for you.
that was it for this episode. We basically just went over a couple of things that we liked, which was the gag of Rista and finding him attractive. We talked about how great the intro song is, which I've had on loop this whole podcast because it's a banger. So just
It is.
listen to that. It's called Tit for Tat. Just look up Cautious Hero OP song, and you'll find it on YouTube. I want Valkyrie to beat me up. Uh,
I do not want Saya to be.
although he would.
We would freaking.
Uh, but I do agree you should watch the show if it interests you at all, because it is a good show. The characters are funny. You might like Saya. Obviously, Celeste does, so some people like it,
I
no matter
I
how
love
deranged they
Saya.
are.
I mean, it reminds me. No, it reminds me of like, Amagi Brilliant Park Saya.
Okay. Okay, I can see.
It reminds me of Amagi Brilliant Park Saya. Like, come on, and I love Saya on that one too.
Should we go over what the next episode is going to be again?
Yeah.
So I'll start it off exactly how I did last time. Hey Celeste,
Yes.
do you like VTubers?
I don't watch them. I don't watch them really. I really don't watch them.
It's just like trying to be yourself but also acting. I don't watch them. uh, so basically, what I've done is I've gathered a playlist, which I'll link in the messages here, like the chat room on Twitch of the live stream, and I'll link it in the video that I upload on YouTube of this podcast. Granted, if the fucking audio messes up again, we're not gonna redo this a third time, so it might not be a video. Yeah, sad face. If anything, I'll link it on the Twitter because, as I forgot to mention in the original recording of this, there is an official Twitter for the podcast now. Yeah. But basically, I'm going to have a playlist on YouTube of the rabbit hole known as the VTuber world. Mainly focused on, only focused on Hololive VTubers, and Hololive is just a Japanese corporation of VTubers, both male and female. The males are called Hollow Stars, and the females are called Hololive. And they've since their inaugural debut, they've branched out into different sections of the world. So they've had the original Japanese branch, they've had Indonesia, they had Chinese, but that no longer exists, and I'll get into that a little bit when we do the actual podcast next week. But recently, this past September, they had their first, I don't want to say American because they're not all living in America, to my knowledge, but it is mainly English speaking VTuber group called Hololive English, also known as Hololive Myth, consisting of a few English speaking VTubers. They speak other languages for the most part, some of them better than others, but it's mainly English speaking, and it's to get the American audience because they saw such a huge interest in their entertainers, and basically both the entertainers and the fans were begging for an English version. So I'm gonna link you a bunch of videos for that, and
I already got my list.
yeah. Have you actually started watching any of them?
No, not yet. I've been too busy setting up.
No problem. But it's gonna be focusing on Hololive. We're gonna focus on mainly this one here, Gargura, because she's my favorite out of all of them, and she's a good little shark girl, who is
Oh
over
my
9,000
gosh!
years old.
Now I remember who she reminds me of.
Who?
The whole time I'm like, she reminds me of someone. It has to do with the teeth in the blue, Grimjow.
Grimshaw from Bleach?
Yeah,
Jesus.
probably. But it has to do with the blue and the teeth. That's it. Because I was like, man, I go for some reason I think of somebody else, and it was Grimjow.
uh, well, that's very far apart from each other, but okay.
It is, but like I said, the only reason why, like, it's the teeth and the.
Yeah, yeah, I
Go
get you.
on, go on.
But we're mainly going to be focusing on her because she's my favorite. But I am going to touch on the other members of her generation as well as some of the Japanese ones. I'll make mention of like the other branches, but I don't even think I sent you any videos of them. Even because like not that I haven't checked them out, but I just want to give you a small taste and maybe you'll fall down the rabbit hole yourself.
We'll see.
We'll
We'll see.
see. We'll see.
We'll see.
But I think you're gonna enjoy at least Gura a lot, and maybe there's one called Korone. I think you'll like her too.
What about the one from high school days or whatever?
That's not. Man. To the uninformed, there was an anime made by Overflow many many years ago. It was actually originally a visual novel called School Days, and you can look it up. It's like a psychological thriller type of ending to it. It's bad. It involves like murder, beheading, slashing open the stomach of a supposedly pregnant woman. Uh, but Overflow, the company, has announced that they're entering the VTuber game on Christmas Day, December 25th, with uh, the yandere killer herself, Kotonaha, from that anime, and it absolutely ruined my day when I heard that, because I just got flashbacks of like early high school when I discovered that anime, and I was like, oh, it's a nice little romance, and then murder happens, and I was like, oh, okay,
There was a lot
cool,
of cheating. There was a
yeah,
lot of cheating.
yeah.
The main pro tag cheated a lot. I mean, like, had like a lot of like three ways.
Hey, maybe we should do an episode about school days.
Oh yeah, we
You watch the
should
first seven
actually.
episodes. Hey, would you continue this?
No,
Oh
I
man.
literally skipped. No, to be honest, I literally skipped a lot. You know, when I was watching that anime, I skipped a lot, and I mainly like skipped because I heard about the ending,
Uh huh.
and so I tried watching it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of annoying, and so I skipped a lot, and then I got to the end, like the last episode, and that's when I was like, finally the action and regrets,
We
regrets.
should maybe play the game then.
There's a game?
It was originally a visual novel.
No.
Yeah, there's school days. There's school days like side stories, summer days, and it's just like add-ons to the basic school day story. And there's different endings,
No.
obviously, and there's a bunch of like murder endings. There's one that haunts me of like Kotonoha committing suicide in front of Sekai and Makoto.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
she like you remember in the anime like before Makoto dies, the text messages.
Yeah.
So that there's that type of scene, and they're walking together to his apartment building, and they're getting the text, and like it finally stops, and they read the message, and then you just see like her fall head first towards the pavement, and it just like freezes, and she smiles at them, and then it's just like her head explodes like a watermelon on the pavement.
What? Oh.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm just thinking if he wasn't you know, I blame the other girl too. What's her name again? The one
Sekai.
that was supposed to. Yeah, I blame her too because like she like because what's her name whatever was interested and she's like, oh, I want him. I hate women sometimes.
It all depends on like the way that they framed it in the anime. We're not even supposed to be focusing on this in this episode.
No.
But the way that they painted it in the anime was that she like had a crush on him but couldn't admit to it. So she was like, okay, I'll just help him because that'll make me feel better. But then like her true feelings started to come out, and she just didn't want to help him anymore. She didn't want to see him happy with another girl. So
Uh-huh.
she was like, okay, well, she's too shy and he's too shy to do this. Maybe I'll throw my card in there. But then it just became like this weird three-way thing, and it just evolved from there. But obviously, in the game, you have control, and you can choose what happens. And sometimes you get like a
I'll
horrible
pick
ending. Uh huh.
I'll pick what Kotahu
Kotonoha.
Kotahu Kotana. I'll pick her.
I would actually pick Sekai.
I'll be like,
I like Sekai a lot more.
no.
Just because of what I've seen in the game and in the manga and the anime. I just like her more like personality wise, and like learning her backstory.
I guess I feel bad for
Kotonoha.
how do you pronounce it again?
Kotonoha.
Konoha. I Kotonaha. I just feel bad for Kotonaha. Like I feel bad for her. One thing about me that sucks. I always go for the second lead. Like I
Because
never
you feel
go
like
for the
empathetic
first.
towards them.
Yeah, like I always go for the second lead. Like always, and I'm just like,
Well, she's not too
why?
pure herself unless you just watch the anime.
She 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 isn't. Like I said, I just saw the like I only like I said I saw the anime. I skipped a lot, so like I what I saw was was her always being nice.
Yeah. So actually,
So
if you
like I
play the
say,
game, there's a scene that you can do. Obviously, it's optional because there's branching paths. But there's a scene where she's just like mad at him for choosing Sekai. So she goes and like sleeps with his best friend with like no protection, and then just walks out with like all his stuff dripping down her leg. And it's like, anyway,
oh my god, that's gross.
yeah, there's plenty of like really fucked up moments in that, whether it be like death or just gross stuff. But even if you're like completely loyal to one girl, you can still get an absolutely horrible ending, just based on
Mhm.
small things that you might say or do.
God, I'm gonna have to do a look at a game guy because I don't want to get murdered.
There's even like I think there was like a Blu-ray release of the anime, and it had like additional like game scenes in it, and there was like a QTE event where they like the two girls went at it with knives, and you had to like button mash, and whoever you controlled, like if you didn't lose, if you won, they would like chop the other one's head off or something.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There's one.
That's too wild.
There's one that Katonaha pushes Sekai in front of a train, or it might be the other way around. I think it's Katonaha pushes Sekai in front of a train.
Now I gotta go on YouTube and like look up these videos.
Oh, there's plenty of compilations of just the thing, and then like the manga has its own ending too.
What's the manga's ending?
If I remember
Oh,
correctly, it it has kind of like a similar scene where he's attacked, but he survives. I think it's Katonaha that attacks him though, and he wakes up in the hospital, and Sekai's there, and she's like telling him that everything's gonna be okay, and that they'll be fine now, and that they'll be together forever, and like really ominous, like Yandere style. And
uh-huh.
he tries to call Katonaha, saying like, "Oh, I don't blame you for anything. Like it's okay. I understand where you were coming from." And
Uh-huh.
he can't reach her, and he finds out that like Sekai just like killed her entire family and like left them in
Holy
the
crap.
apartment. Yeah. But the anime
Her
ending
entire
is the
family?
most, yeah, basically like her entire family, yeah, the little sister, everything. Uh,
No.
but the anime one is the most famous one, especially because of like the boat scene.
The boat scene.
Yeah, and it was like a meme on the internet for years. Nice boat.
I know, I remember.
Did you know that when they were airing that anime for the first time, a girl had actually killed her father, like beheaded him with like a machete. So they weren't allowed to release the last episode
Yeah,
for a while.
yeah, yeah, I remember that. I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, they just replaced it with like scenery, like 30 minutes of scenery.
Nice boat.
Nice boat.
Oh.
Somehow this episode that was supposed to be a shortened version of the original podcast is the exact same length. So I think now is time to bid adieu. Uh, remember
We got
you can
we
tune
got
in
sidetracked.
you can tune in next week for another episode of the podcast. And you can also follow the podcast on Twitter, and it's at animation reval, REVAL 1, the number 1. on Twitter.
Number one.
Yeah,
Remember, because we're number one.
because we're number one, and also animation revaluation is too long of a Twitter handle.
One. Remember, number one.
Yeah, and of course you can also follow us. Do you wanna tell them your Twitter?
Celeste Overdrive, which is CELESTDRIVE, just Celeste
Yeah, with the over
Drive.
in the middle between
With
those.
the over. I'm like a brain fart, and I said it. I was like, wait a minute, I forgot something, didn't I?
Celeste Drive. Uh huh. So that's
Just
it's
Celeste
Celeste
Overdrive.
Overdrive. CELESTOVERDRIVE. So at Celeste Overdrive, and you can follow
He knows
me
it better than
at Battlizer23. BATTLIZER 23.
2, 3, not 23 like the spelling.
No, that's only my PSN. Hey, they said, hey, we need a name, and I tried to put in 23, and they were like, nope.
Nope. Bad boy.
Oh, that was fun.
Forbidden.
But yeah, so thanks again for watching, everyone. Hope this is better quality. I hope the sound actually works on this one. If not, I will cry. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you'll tune in next week for the VTubers.
I'm looking forward to that because I'm definitely going in there not knowing anything besides what's her name? Gorahara?
Excuse me?
What's her name? I don't remember her name. I just remember it starts with the G.
What, the shark?
Yeah.
Oh, Gargura.
Gargura.
Yeah. Just Gura. Just Gura.
Grimjow, see?
No, just Gura.
Grimjow.
Gura. Gura got a shark.
For shame.
What a shame.
Shame. Shame.
Oh man, I love Gura so much. Oh my god.
Even better than girl with chains for bikini.
yes, even more than I love her.
All right, okay, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. No more distractions. Have a good night, everyone.
Night.
Night.
Or it's evening. Evening, or no, it's
Whatever time zone you're in, whatever.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.